This is your official WWE SummerSlam 2019 review here on the JBSN Media Network YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. We had 3 matches on the pre-show, which for some reason was 2 hours. It really only needed to be 1. Let's start off with the opening match. It was, of course, for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. We had Drew Gulak defending the title against Oney Lorcan. This was a solid match. Good stuff from both guys here. The outcome never in doubt. Gulak wins at 8 minutes and 48 seconds with the Argentine neckbreaker to retain the Cruiserweight title, so it was a decent match. Second match on the card was thrown together at the last minute. We had Apollo Crews taking on Buddy Murphy. Really nothing to the match. There was no build. These two just went out there. Very short, really nothing of it. Murphy wins by disqualification after Eric Rowan came out and attacked him on the outside and left him laying. So this was basically for Eric Rowan to get his heat. That's all this was, really, so really nothing to it. We had Elias come out for his concert. He did his usual deal by trashing the town, which happened to be Toronto here. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard going to LA, getting his heel heat. Edge comes out to make a surprise visit, and he lays out Elias with a spear. This would not be good a night for Elias, as we would find out later on. In the final match on the kickoff, it was for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. We had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, the newly crowned Women's Tag Team Champions, putting those titles on the line against the Iconics. A decent match, just a lot of basic stuff here from both teams. Alexa and Nikki retain. Alexa wins for her team after hitting Twisted Bliss on Peyton Royce for the win at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. The Apollo Crews Buddy Murphy match went 4 minutes and 42 seconds. So, 3 relatively short matches on the kickoff. That's pretty much all you need to know there. On to the main card. It opened with the WWE Raw Women's title match. It was a submission match between Becky Lynch and Natalya, so they jerked the curtain here. I thought this was going to be I thought this could have possibly been a spectacular match. It was an okay match. It was really nothing to write home about. It was one of the things I was looking for was the crowd reaction here, and the crowd definitely cheered more for Becky than for Natalya, but Becky did get some boos, and Natalya got definitely more boos. This match, there was really nothing special about the match. It felt like they were just going through the motions. I said it on Twitter, so Becky won, no question about it. The highlight during the match, each person put the other submission on the others, so at one point during the match. But Becky won the match in the end at 12 minutes and 24 seconds with her disarmor. So she retained, and there was no runouts. There was no runout from Sasha Banks, no runout from Ronda Rousey, not even Bret Hart. Bret Hart would be seen later on in the show, which we'll talk about when we get there. So Becky Lynch winning with no outside interference. It kind of felt flat to me. Next up, we had Goldberg taking on Dolph Ziggler. This match was exactly what it needed to be. Very short, sweet, and to the point. Ziggler did get a little bit of offense in. He hit 2 super kicks right at the beginning, as I figured he might get some offense in. But Goldberg with the spear and then the jackhammer 1, 2, 3 at 1 minute and 46 seconds. He won the match. Ziggler got on the microphone twice to call Goldberg back out. He speared him twice for the 2 times. So Ziggler must have gotten a nice payday for taking the heat here from Goldberg. So that's what came of that. Next up was for the WWE United States title. We had AJ Styles out with the club. He put the title on the line against Ricochet. This was a very good match. Easily the best match up to this point on the card. Good stuff here from both guys. The outcome, I thought, was never in doubt. People thought Ricochet was winning the title. I figured AJ was retaining. AJ does retain the title at 12 minutes and 55 seconds. He won with the Styles Clash after Ricochet came off the top rope for, I guess, what would have been a moonsault or maybe the 630 splash. He got caught, and then AJ got the Styles Clash on him, 1, 2, 3 to retain. After the match, the Good Brothers laid out Ricochet with a magic killer for good measure, so we'll see if this feud continues or not. The next match was for the WWE SmackDown Women's title. We had Bayley defending that title against Ember Moon. The crowd, unfortunately, was really not into this. They started singing during the match. That's pretty much tells you all you need to know. I thought it was okay. Again, much like the Becky Lynch-Natalya match from earlier, I thought this match kind of went through the motions. It was really no heat to it. I thought they did okay here. There was really nothing to write home about. Bayley does retain the title. She wins at 10 minutes and 13 seconds after hitting a nice-looking Bayley-to-belly suplex off the top rope on Ember Moon for the win to retain. And again, no run-out from anyone here, so again, really nothing to it. It just kind of felt flat, but Bayley is still the champion, which was the right call. That's what I picked, so we had that. Next up was Shane McMahon taking on Kevin Owens. The stipulation is if Kevin Owens lost, he would, quote, quit WWE. Obviously, the stipulation was the giveaway here. Shane McMahon does bring out Elias to be the special guest enforcer for the match. Of course, they go at it. Shane gets his heat in. Looks like he's gassed after about 5 minutes. We get a ref bump on the outside. The regular referee and Elias are taken out on a bump. Elias eventually does get back up first. Kevin Owens uses a chair to take out Elias for good. And then almost used the chair on Shane, but the other referee caught him. But he warned him not to use the chair. The referee takes the chair away. Kevin Owens with a low blow behind the referee's back. Stone Cold Stunner on Shane, 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens wins at 9 minutes and 29 seconds, so he gets to, quote, keep his job. So, like there was ever any doubt that Kevin Owens was losing here. Next up, which I thought was one of the best matches on the entire night, we had Trish Stratus in what will likely be her final match, taking on Charlotte Flair here. The match did start off a little bit slow for me. A lot of plotting around here, a lot of slow movement, a lot of rest holds early. The back half of the match picked up. Good stuff here. Trish really was hitting her spots here pretty well. She hit Stratusfaction for a very close near fall. She actually wound up getting Charlotte in the figure 4, eventually into the figure 8 leg lock. Charlotte was able to get out of it. In the end, though, Charlotte does win after a valiant effort here from Trish. Charlotte wins at 16 minutes and 38 seconds. Charlotte taps out Trish Stratus to the figure 8 leg lock. I was actually surprised. I figured Charlotte would win. I didn't think she would win by submission. I didn't think they were going to have Trish tap out here, but sure enough, they did that. I guess you got to keep Charlotte strong here by having her tap out Trish to submission. I thought maybe Charlotte would win by cheating, but that's not the case. So Charlotte does get the win. Rightfully so. She should be winning, and that there was no reason for her not to win here. So she does a classy thing after the match. She gets the win, but she leaves the ring right away and lets Trish have the spotlight. She gets the big thank you, Trish, and the big reaction from the crowd. I thought that was very classy. And I know Charlotte did an interview for WWE.com afterwards on their website, basically putting over Trish for her great work and the great match that she had with her, and really said nothing but positive things about Trish. So it was very classy of Charlotte. And look, we all knew that Charlotte was honored to work with Trish. There was never any doubt about that. So it was a great match, easily the best match on the card for the most part this entire night. The next match was for the WWE title. We had Kofi Kingston taking on Randy Orton. They did a deal where they showed Kofi Kingston's family in the front row, and when I saw that, I said out loud, oh boy, because you knew something was going to happen, because they showed him a few times throughout the match, and basically that was a dead giveaway that something was up, something was going to happen, likely involving him, whether there was physical contact or not. I knew something was going to happen. They were telling a pretty good match here. Both guys doing their thing. Randy dominated for most of it. Kofi would come back, but Randy Orton would cut him off. Randy Orton eventually was able to hit the RKO, but Kofi eventually rolled out of the ring, and that led to the finish sequence here. Randy Orton, I guess, losing count of the time he was outside. He wound up staring down Kofi's family there at ringside, and then we heard the bell. We got a double count out. At 16 minutes and 25 seconds, we got a double count out. And then Kofi eventually lays waste to Randy Orton with a chair because of him staring down his family. I guess Kofi saw him, and he just erupted like crazy, and he just laid out Randy Orton with the chair. The crowd was actually booing here, and I don't blame them. A double count out for the WWE title match. Obviously, they didn't want to beat either guy. You want to keep both guys looking strong here. But to have a double count out like that, I mean, I didn't blame the fans. This was a ripoff. You should have had a winner one way or the other, or should have went for a cheap DQ finish. That's my opinion. So clearly this feud's going to continue. Obviously, they're going to have a rematch at Clash of Champions. And I didn't like the finish here. I thought they could have done better with the finish. That's just my opinion. So we had that. Next up was Bray Wyatt as The Fiend. He took on Finn Balor. This was exactly what it needed to be. I should note back on the pre-show, we had a backstage segment with Finn Balor. He met up with the club. Perhaps planting the seeds. There's been some rumors circulating that maybe Finn Balor could be joining the club once he comes back from his time off. So they kind of planted those seeds on the pre-show. They have the match here. This was exactly what it needed to be. It didn't go very long. Finn Balor does get a few hope spots in during the match, but Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. The Fiend here, whatever, he dominates. He goes on the win at 3 minutes and 29 seconds. He used the Mandible Claw and got the win on Finn Balor, and that's exactly what it should have been. It should have been short, sweet, and to the point. You have to make The Fiend look strong here. You're not going to promote him all this time for him to lose. So this was clearly the right outcome. And then finally, in your main event for the WWE NBC Universal title, we had Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman as the champion. Brock was defending that title against Seth Rollins. Brock dominates for a while here. He goes after the ribs, of course. I thought Seth Rollins' selling was pretty comical here as well. But I was actually surprised here. Brock dominates like 85% of the match. Seth makes the comeback in the end, and at 13 minutes and 20 seconds, Seth Rollins won the title back. He hit the stump. He hit one stump, and Brock was able to kick out. He hit a second one, and that was enough to put him down. So Seth Rollins is once again your WWE NBC Universal title holder. He beats Brock and slays the Beast for the second time. I have no problem with Seth winning, which is fine, but what was the point of taking the title off of him at Extreme Rules if you were just going to put the title back on him here at SummerSlam? That, to me, just seemed like a complete waste. I guess they wanted to go for shock value at Extreme Rules by having Brock cash in Money in the Bank. I was not a fan of this. I figured Brock was going to hold it at least a little bit longer here, but you basically used him as a transitional champion this time, so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Either you should have let Brock hold the title a little bit longer, or should never have had Seth to lose to begin with. So I was a little perturbed by that. I didn't get the strategy here, but Seth is the champion, and that's how they went off the air. I guess they wanted to go home happy. So I just couldn't believe it, but that was my thought on that. Now, what is my official grade? Here's my official report card grade for WWE SummerSlam 2019. I give it a C-. I was almost going to give it a D+. They did go off the air early. They were over by about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so that does up it up just a little bit here. I thought Charlotte Trish actually had a very good match. AJ and Rico had a great match. And everything else was, for the most part, pretty predictable and pretty, blah. Kofi Randy ending on a double countout, you got to lower the grade for that. Seth Rollins winning the title back, I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it should have been happening yet. The way they did it kind of irked me, so I lowered the grade a little bit. Other than that, we didn't see Sasha Banks or Ronda Rousey. We did see Bret Hart. Bret Hart, I mentioned, he was in a backstage segment with Seth Rollins before that match that Seth had with Brock. So that's how they used Bret Hart, instead of using Bret Hart in the submission match with Natalya and Becky. So I didn't get the strategy. Clearly, you would think Bret would want nothing to do with Seth, considering Seth's girlfriend beat his niece in the submission match. So use logic there. So my official report card grade for WWE SummerSlam 2019 is a C-. So that is your official WWE SummerSlam 2019 review here on the JBSN Media Network YouTube channel. I'm Jeff. Thanks for checking us out. We'll see you the next time. Bye for now, everyone.
For the JBSN Media Network, this is Jenna Green speaking.